Hmm. Hmm. Good evening, everyone. I'd like to call the Village of Gold Rivers Council meeting to order. And to start off with our land acknowledgement that we are in the unceded traditional territory of the Mowchut-Mushlet First Nations. Introduction of late items. Council, does anyone have any late items they wish to introduce to the agenda? Seeing none. Administrator, do you have any late items you'd like to add to the agenda at this point?
No, your worship.
Okay, and to have a delegate speak, we don't have to adjust our agenda at all. We can just include that person. Okay, thank you. So, approval agenda, that the agenda be adopted as presented. You care to move it? Councillor Fawson, second by Councillor Pickard. Any discussion? Seeing none, call for the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Adoption of the minutes, that the regular meeting minutes from August the 5th, 2025 be adopted as presented. Who'd care to move it? Councillor Waymire, second by Councillor Pringle. Any discussion? Seeing none, call for the question. All in favor? Oh, I'm liking this meeting already. Public and statutory hearings. Seeing none. Unfinished business, seeing none. Moving on. Start off with our first delegate. We've got somebody here and then we'll get to you. How's that, Chris? Okay. And do we have Jennifer Woodlands, the Managing Director of Agri?
Yeah, she's online now.
Good evening.
Hi. Sorry, can you hear me? I can see you. Can you see me?
I can't see, but I hear you loud and clear. It sounds wonderful.
Oh, great. Thank you. Yeah, it's when I try to start video, it says the host has disabled it. So
It's too
that's
bad.
fine.
It's too bad you weren't here for our earlier discussion when we're discussing you.
Me?
Yeah. We weren't quite sure what your title was, so I had to make one up for you. So it was, you're now Jennifer Woodlands, head mucky muck of Grieg Seafood.
Ooh, I do like Queen of the World, but that one will do.
Okay, well, maybe I'll put that in parentheses there. We'll have that in there.
Well, to be clear, I am the managing director for Grieg Seafood BC until we understand what's going to happen with the purchase of Grieg by Cermak in a couple of months. Yeah, so if you're ready, I can give you a couple of updates there.
We're really grateful that you've chosen to take some time out of your busy schedule to join us this evening to inform council and the community of any developments that you're able to share with us at this time about that purchase of Grieg Seafood BC, and I guess it's Newfoundland and Northern Norway or something. I couldn't remember all of them. Yeah, and what type of impacts that you think it might have on the operations in Gold River. So without any further ado, I'll turn the floor over to you, Managing Director, and maybe you can share some of your insights with council and the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you, and thank you for having me. And I really wanted to be there in person. Unfortunately, my husband got called to Newfoundland and left very early this morning. And my other daughter, we dropped her off at university in Victoria yesterday, and she was my other driver too. So I found myself on double duty today. So my apologies. I'm sitting in the car right now while my daughter goes to her appointment.
Well, if there's any consolation to you, we're a very family-friendly community, and we embrace family first too. So we can, and we also we're good at multitasking.
I know you are. Well, thank you very much. I will give you what I know on the status of the announcement of the sale of Grieg. There isn't a whole lot to update there because confidentiality through the competition process, none of us are involved in the details of that. So I will tell you what I know, and I can tell you what I expect. And then I'd like to give a quick update on the UBCM and some of the initiatives that I'm working with the City of Campbell River to bring in municipalities across BC on an awareness piece. So I'll start with the sale. So yeah, we were surprised here in BC. We knew Newfoundland was being looked at for sale. BC and Finnmark came as a surprise for sure. Grieg has had some challenging years in different regions over the past couple of years, and With the uncertainty, of course, in BC and the scale back of our production here over the course of the last years, it was getting financially challenging. And so they were looking for investors. We had been looking at investors, and we were also looking for different types of partnerships and a potential sale of operations of Newfoundland. And what ended up happening is Cermak came in and offered to buy 3 regions, which
Wow.
Grieg Seafood then accepted that offer. So what is going to happen now, it has to go through a competition process through the Canadian and Norwegian governments. So they will look to ensure that this sale doesn't somehow impact competition within the Atlantic salmon farming sector. The owner of Cermak is Mitsubishi. So as you can imagine, yeah. So as
That's
you
a
can imagine,
Japanese company, correct?
yeah, they are, and they're well integrated into many things, including seafood. But as such, they have a lot of seafood interests. So the competition review process is expected to continue until somewhere between October and December. Hopefully October, most likely December. And so until the competition approves the deal, we cannot talk production. We cannot future plan what the future company is going to look like from a production or people standpoint until that is done.
Okay.
And it's very strict regulation on that. So that's the process. How I feel about it personally, I think it's on one side it's a sad thing for sure because it's amalgamation of 2 companies. And for a long time, nobody was sellable in BC because of the business uncertainty and the government uncertainty.
Understood.
The other side of me is we've been undercapitalized in Grieg Seafood for quite some time, right? We've been managing very well, but on a very tight budget. And last year we had announced, or the year before last, just after I first started, we announced to all the employees that rather than close the doors when the government was talking about and consequently did put a ban on our operations by 2029, that we were going to fight that because it's not possible, but we had to take some serious budget cuts to
Yes.
accomplish that. So we went through, it was called our cost saving initiative, and we did that, but we invested heavily in the fight to preserve our operations going forward. And the fact that Mitsubishi now looked at us and wanted to build up Cermak by amalgamating with Grieg Seafood actually makes me quite proud because it is a part of the story of we're starting to come into that business certainty piece, or certainly they felt that we're on that track enough to make a billion NOK deal that included the purchase of BC. I work very closely with Cermak and Mowi, the other operators here in British Columbia. So I know them very well. I know their staff very well. I know their culture very well. They are a good company. They've got very good value system. In a lot of the cooperative work that we do as an industry sector together, we are most aligned. We are the most similar. And for that, I am grateful. So I do truly believe that we will be, or the company will be in good hands, and it is about growth. And that's a good thing. And then coming with Mitsubishi's pocketbook and wallet is going to be a good thing too, right? So they have, Grieg's a family company that went public. Mitsubishi's massive. So, from the growth potential, the attention, the financing, all these things are very positive. Will there be redundancies? There will be amongst some individuals. But what I've been told about the process is that the reputation of Grieg Seafood and our team and our sites and everything that we've done in our process improvement project has not gone unnoticed by Cermak and Mitsubishi. And this is not a takeover, wipe out people and operations and take over. This is what we've been told is now a merger. So there will be, once the competition clause or process closes, and let's say that's December. Immediately after that, there's going to be a committee of professionals to look at the 2 companies as a whole in terms of assets and people, and then create the merger that's taking the best of the best to create a really good company. And you know, we do have our operations in Gold River and also with the hatchery and our sea sites. The sea sites obviously are going to be very attractive to Cermak, so there's no issues there. They do have a lot of freshwater resources, but also I can imagine that the Gold River hatchery and brood is also a part of what makes us valuable. So I'm not anticipating, honestly, any impact to suppliers, businesses, sites, site employees, that type of thing. I think this merger is about putting the two companies together and building up. Um, so I'm not anticipating, like I said, anything negative with regards to our operations and people. We will just see through the merge process where redundancies are, and hopefully they will be minimal. I know that, you know, there's several individuals on different teams that are entering retirement age. So I think that there's room for a lot. And I'm not upset with the process. I don't know where I will be at the end of this process, but I have committed to the company, to my employee. Oh, I also have my dog in the car. Please bear with me a second. You put me on mute. Dude, it's okay. Um, yeah, I've committed to staying around. I want to ensure the partnerships that we have with our communities, with First Nations, our employees, that everything goes smoothly. So regardless of what my future looks like with the new company being formed, I'm definitely sticking around to ensure a smooth process for everybody. I have had the opportunity to be able to present information, not production information, of course, but people information and relationship information. And I did speak very highly of Gold River, all of our First Nations partnerships, the relationship that we have with the village, and that was very well received, and they were glad to hear it. When the time comes, post competition, we're going to do a round of introductions. So then we will introduce you to their team while the new team's being put together and start that ball rolling. So, you know, for me, it was surprising information, um, mainly because we haven't gotten the green light from the government yet, but it was ground truthing my optimism around it because it is an investment. This is not a company failing and going away. This is not a company who is, you know, packing it up and leaving. This is a company that is investing in this company to grow. So I do take a lot of comfort and pride in that. And that's about as much as I can say or that I know really about this process. It's a lot of data being presented and put in different rooms for, you know, these analyzers to see. And I don't foresee any problems from the competition perspective. I do anticipate this sale to go through. And then once that happens, we can then start talking freely and communicate broadly on what the next steps are through the amalgamation. But I do anticipate it to be a positive move.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. Everything I heard there was very encouraging and addressed some of the anxieties and fears that I had. So that's very, very positive. Thanks for sharing that with us. And we look forward to hearing future reports too, that once you're able to disclose those. Jennifer, are you open to taking a few questions from council members if they have any questions for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I just wanted to see about this part, then we can do this other part. Councilors, do you have any questions pertaining to the information that Jennifer shared with us so far? Nope. That must have been a very comprehensive presentation because you got through that without one question. Holy smokes, you probably never had that in your entire career. Too bad. I've got a counselor that's very inquisitive. Counselor Pickard.
Thank you through the chair. Thanks, Jennifer. It's actually not a question, but thanks for taking the call and joining us tonight. It's Nikki speaking, or Councillor Pickard. And just thanks for all your hard work just championing aquaculture and Grieg Seafood and how much you guys did in investing to keep the industry going and making Grieg attractive for a sale, even with some uncertainty in the federal government regulations. But I think it's a testament to all yours and your team's advocating and strength and resiliency. And it's, yeah, sad we won't see the Grieg's logos on the sweaters around town, but also, as you say, exciting as there looks like potential and lots of possibility, and hopefully things will mostly stay the same. Thank you.
Thank you so much for your kind words, Nick. I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Jennifer. I was wondering if you wanted to move into the second part of your presentation where you're going to, I assume you're going to talk about the UBCM initiative and also the September 11th event in Gold River. Or were you planning on touching on those?
Yeah, that's what I want to talk about because I'm super excited. So
How's the dog doing?
he has settled down, but somebody walked by the car. And so now he's a little bit on high alert.
You're good. You're good for a few more minutes then, huh?
Yeah, right. I don't see anybody else coming. Yes, no, this is super exciting. So just as a recap, within the sector, and I chair the BC Salmon Farming Association, and I just finished last year chairing the Canadian Aquaculture Industry Association. A part of the work that we were doing around the government was really trying to develop an army, right? A lot of people supported us, but they didn't know how to properly support us. The government was making decisions because they were ill-informed. How do we properly inform them? So the executive director of the association and I, when the ban came down last summer, said, let's divide and conquer. Him, as the executive director, went the route of agriculture and became a member of the BC Agriculture Council, and has been doing a political roadshow with them. As you know, salmon farming out of British Columbia is the largest agricultural export. We absolutely deserve a place there. And I went the natural resource municipality route and really started working with the BC Business Council and the Chamber of Commerce and different things to try to raise awareness. And through the affiliation with the BC Business Council, I started working with they created a coalition between the Western three provinces, Saskatchewan, Alberta, and ourselves. And I went to the Natural Resource Forum in Prince George in last January, and it just was raging at me that every single sector, didn't matter if it was forestry, mining, LNG, innovation technology, salmon farming, agriculture, we all had the exact same issues with the province of BC in regulatory, lack of growth, red tape, you name it. It was the exact same story. So we worked through the BC Business Council to start talking to the other sectors to raise awareness. And a lot of the feedback that we got through the engagements that we were holding with forestry and mining and others was the rural urban divide, that a lot of the policy decisions that come federally out of Ottawa and even within British Columbia is largely dictated by the voting population of Surrey, Vancouver, Victoria. Yet there was a lot of decisions being made to satisfy those voters while those voters were making decisions when questioned that they didn't fully understand the impact, right?
Yes.
And we had tossed around some ideas of, maybe we need like a commercial that comes on that shows a family in Vancouver. And I think I mentioned this the last time. They're sitting at a table, they got their phones, they're eating sushi, and slowly in this urban town, everything disappears because they have no critical minerals. They don't have, fish for their sushi. They don't have a table from lumber, etc. And that started to take shape. So when the tariffs came down, I got invited by the city of Campbell River to come talk to their mayor and council with the tariffs. And I referenced they should really be connecting with the BC Business Council and this Western Business Council coalition. They did. They learned some of those initiatives and then decided to take on an initiative to get prepared for the UBCM.
Good.
And we call ourselves the BATS. So we're the business action team. So it is under mostly natural resources, but tourism is a part of it. There's other small business is a part of it. And through that action team, we were able to help and bring in certain speakers talking about the BC economy, talking about policy issues. We had the BC Business Council come in and give presentation. And that has now launched, it has fed the hunger, I will tell you, of Mayor Kermit here.
Yeah.
He's taken this on. And so you would have received an invitation to UBCM. They are now getting some funds. They have hired some communications videographers, and they're getting really geared up. What they want to do at the UBCM is they've already put forward a resolution around taking some action with the province to get attention where it's needed and talk about this rural urban divide. Apparently this resolution has already gone forward and is pre-approved before the UBCM, so that's a good thing. They want to invite mayors from across Vancouver Island, which those invitations have gone out, and I will host the tour, or our team will host the tour on September 11th. And they will take the select mayors who have agreed to come to Gold River, hopefully to meet with you all as well. I believe Council Pritchard said that she couldn't come. And we will tour them to our hatchery and our sea site. And if time allows, we'll get them to Campbell River and go through the processing plant. The purpose of that is to raise awareness. We've already got several mayors, including Comox, Courtney, and a couple of others that don't necessarily have salmon farming in their backyard, but are eager to learn and understand more. So we will have quite a group coming out on the 11th. That is to prep and, kind of get where people are prior to the UBCM. The UBCM is now getting a lot of RSVPs. They're having a networking event just on this, I believe, the night before the event, and then they have a bit of a session and panel there at the event. It's gaining a lot of momentum. They're getting a lot of responses across the mainland wanting to participate in this as well. And then once that tour is over, we're going to then invite a broader group of mayors from outside of the island to come back and tour the sites to hear about what they learned and try to generate some more support. Campbell River has been collecting funds. They put out a call for funding, and many business owners and others as a part of this group have put funds into it. They've now hired Stuart Moore with Resource Works to help put some content together to help really manage this and start building some of those, like what I talked about, that commercial. Some of, we saw actually a clip of it last week and they're phenomenal. And it's like, did you know? And it's about forestry, right? Do you know where this comes from? Well, the forest and this much money and this much. Do you know where your fish comes from? They talk about aquaculture. So, and it'll talk about mining. So it kind of goes through all the priority sectors that we have here in British Columbia, and particularly on the island, that could really use a boost politically. And so I'm very excited for that to happen. And then last week, I was reading the news, as I always do, and they announced there was a new lady, Cherie Malou, who is working for the Canada West Foundation. And I didn't really know a lot about the Canada West Foundation. And originally I thought it was the Business Councils getting together, but it was a different organization, which is somewhat like a think tank, but they also work with businesses and communities on strategies around business development and the economy. They're based out of Edmonton or Calgary, but they represent the 3 Western provinces as well. I set up a meeting with the lady, and when I read her profile and said, I think there's a lot of synergies in the work that we are doing here with the municipalities and broadly on some of the other things that we're doing with the Natural Resource Coalition. And she got back to me immediately. I sent her the Macdonald-Laurier report, our science report, and a whole bunch of the things that I've shared with you. And goodness gracious, I met with her a second time. She had read it all and she was geared up. So I mentioned to her about the UBCM and that this didn't need to be a salmon farming connection for the two of us. Really, it's broader than that. She agreed. Next week, I'm meeting with her CEO, and I'm bringing in the Canadian Aquaculture Industry Alliance and BC Salmon Farming Association executive directors to that meeting. She's bringing her CEO. She's having an agriculture day in Calgary, looking at all the supply chain and issues around food with her group, and it's a large group in September. In October, she's having all of the BC caucus and the premier invited to a dinner to talk about the natural resources and policy issues, and now we're invited to that. And now she's going to be showing up at the UBCM. And she will be at the networking event and she will show up to the panel. And she's going to be an amazing connection for us to help broaden this army to look at rural coastal economies and why we need better policies to support economic development for these regions. So if any of you are attending the UBCM, please look for her. I've already told her to look for you, but that's going to be a really good connection. So there's a lot of momentum. The materials, the videos are all being developed now. Campbell River will present on that to you all and on what they're doing there, but it will be for everybody. And then I believe once the UBCM happens and we get more of the mayors from the mainland together, from my experience in Prince George at the natural resource sector, there's a hunger and a thirst for this. And I think it's going to, the momentum that we're feeling now is going to snowball into some bigger momentum with action plans. When that happens, I've already soft launched across the country to New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, and Newfoundland to some mayors that I know and used to work with. Hey, wouldn't this be something to be a part of? And they're eager to be a part of something across the country to raise awareness around the importance of municipalities and, our rural economies. So once we get a little bit of an action plan for the province here, we're going to take it nationally, connect everybody across the country, invite them to the next Kaya event in Ottawa, see if we can get some funding to bring some mayors and bring them together, and continue the momentum that we're feeling right now. And then Premier Eby won't be able to ignore us as easily.
Love your strategy. And yeah, everything that you said there is very uplifting and encouraging. And I think that people never really see what's going on behind the scenes. But I can see that you and your colleagues are tireless advocates for this industry. And I think this is a really important industry for the West Coast. And the Village of Gold River has been supportive of it since I got involved with the council a few years ago. And we will continue to support the initiatives to grow this industry in this area. So yeah, and tangible things, talk's cheap. So I'll be there on the 11th. I don't know if I can make the whole day, but I'm definitely going to be there on the 11th and on the 22nd and all events going forward. Because I would love to have the opportunity to do a little ear twisting on some senior politicians to let them know what improved policies could do to economic development in these rural and remote communities. I don't have a lot of time because we're kind of running out, but councilors, do you have any questions pertaining to the second part of Jennifer's presentation? Nope, no other questions. Jennifer, thank you so much for coming out. We're really fortunate to have you as an advocate and champion for this industry and in our area and all the other areas that you affect, and keep up the good work. We're thinking of you and we support you and your industry.
Thank you so much, and gratitude back at everybody for your support. And I'm not going to give up. And now I just see it's not just salmon farming. We need a total revamp of how we run this province with its natural resources sustainably, but also economically viable. So I'm here for it, and I appreciate you taking the time on the 11th and the 22nd. Thank you so much, everybody.
You're quite welcome. Keep up the good fight, and it is a good fight. Thank you again, and
I'll just hang up now. Thanks so much, everybody. Take care. Have a good night.
Yeah, good night, and good night to your doggy.
Thanks. Bye.
Great part of your presentation.
Thank you.
I have the pleasure, I don't usually get to introduce one of our longstanding citizens who also has been a great contributor to our community and our economy. Person who lived here a long time, raised their family here, worked here in one of our major industries, then volunteered his time for a lot of different things. And he also sat in one of these seats for a lot of years while I was sitting over where he's sitting right now. So it gives me pleasure to introduce or bring up to the mic previous Councillor White, and he has some things he'd like to address to council. And yeah, I have a mute. Where's my mute button? Which one is it? Just in case we don't like where he's going. Welcome, Councillor White.
Thank you, Mayor Lott. Just a couple little things. And as we all know, we travel back and forth in this road lots. And I just took a picture today. And the first thing I wanted to share with you is just out of town, there's a highway sign, local radio, CBC 860 AM, CJGR 101.1 FM.
Mhm.
Well, I don't believe that CJGR 101.1 FM still works. I've tried it. I went to my radio to see if I get it, and I don't think it works. So my question to you is my radio not working, or is this sign out of date? I'm guessing that maybe the station isn't there anymore. But that's my first observation to share with you.
I spent a lot of time with my granddaughter and my daughter, and I don't think they know what radio is, Councillor Wade. So, unless it shows up on this right here or on this right here, I don't know.
Well, no, and I just
But
bring it up because it is a big green highway sign.
We could certainly have administration pursue that and find out whether or not, and if it's no longer relevant, I guess we could also look at having it removed if we no longer have that access to that frequency. But to be quite honest, I'm not sure because I don't listen to radio. Would that satisfy you then? It's,
Oh, just have a look. It's not up to me to change the sign, right? It's a highway sign, but if it's not appropriate, it's their 60th birthday this year, all these people coming up, and if
there's a sign-
it doesn't apply,
I
then we
would
should
think if
fix
there was a
it.
sign out
We
there
should
that's
fix it.
obsolete, then
Yeah.
I think we could make that inquiry and
Yeah,
have the
that would be
appropriate
awesome.
agency remove it. I think that would probably Modi that would be responsible, but
Well,
yeah, we can look into that.
Thank
Is
you.
that something that you've got some time for, Mr. Roy? Thank you, sir.
And the second thing, it's also minor, but it's been driving me crazy for many, many, many years. The sign in front of the arena, the clock, it's fast. It's right now, it's like 7 or 8 minutes fast.
Okay.
When I drove up 7:02, it said on the clock, and clock should show the right time, at least, yeah, anyway. So those are the two little things, just observations that, like, yeah,
Well,
it
I
just-
know that's an itch you've been waiting to scratch, and I'm sure that the Administrator Roy can talk to our Director of Operations, ask him to reset that. I think it's just a matter of computer pumping in the right time.
And it probably is, but it's been that way for as long as I can remember. The clock's been fast at 5 minutes, 6 minutes, anyway. So I've just brought it up to let you all know. It's just a little thing in the back of my mind. And the last thing is, and I don't know if this is fixable or not, but again, summertime, longest days of the year,
Sure.
is that the outside lights on the Jack Christensen Center. Like it just seems like there's always lights on, inside, outside, everywhere. There's lights on. Like I've been working in the thrift shop, right? And there's
Yep.
lights on inside, and they're always on, always on. Consumption, 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 right? And it bothers me because that's not efficient. That's not environmentally friendly, consuming stuff if we don't need to. So just, it's my third thing, and that was it.
I agree, and I think that if you look at our council and our management group and
Mhm.
employees, they're all behind that too. We're looking at every single efficiency that we can possibly identify, because we want to be able to do more with less, not less with less. So if we can find
Exactly.
ways of saving money, Councillor Waite, we'll save money, and I'm sure that the
Thank you.
administrators heard you. I
Mhm.
leave it with him in operations, and he works with his crew.
I lock up the thrift store and I go away, but there's lights on inside, right? They're just part of the whole thing. There's lights always on, right? So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well, one of the things I remember about my time with Councillor White is that we always knew he was coming, because every time he'd walk, he would squeak, and he was and someone used to say that Chris used to squeeze the nickel so hard that the beaver screamed. So I do appreciate all of your initiatives there, Christian,
It's just-
the efficiencies that you probably incorporated over.
just help make Gold River a better place. It's already a fabulous place, but just to improve, right?
Yeah, I'd like our dollars to go farther, sir.
Yeah. You're doing a good job.
Okay, thank you. Not only us, but our staff and our employees and community and everybody else that participates in that. We're usually the beneficiaries of the good stuff, and even though we don't deserve it, a lot of time we're the not so beneficiaries of the bad stuff. And that's how the job goes. Thank you, sir. And we'll move on. I'm into administrator reports, 8-1 revitalization tax exemption. And then the administrator's testing my ability to see if I can read a motion that has more than 2 sentences in it. So here we go, folks. Revitalization tax exemptions. There's the move that council establish a revitalization tax exemption program with the exemptions as follows. Renovated multifamily residential, commercial, industrial projects, 100%. Exemption from municipal taxes based on increased assessed value from renovated buildings for a period of 5 years. Residential, multifamily residential, new construction, year 1, 100% exemption. Year 2, 75% exemption. Year 3, 50% exemption. Year 4, 25% exemption, with at minimum a building permit value of $150,000. Who would care to move that? Councillor Pringle, second by Councillor Fossen. I read the report a number of times, and even though I read it, I had to come down and talk to the administrator to get clarification on some points. So if I did, I suppose some other councillors might also be looking for some clarification on some points. So let's move into discussion. And do you have any thing that you'd like to address about this report, Administrator Roy, before we get into discussion and maybe some questions to help us out?
As this is follow-up to a request we received from council. There, there are different variations of being able to do it. As you would noted in the report, we did put some examples from other communities just to give a flavor of what they can look like. Really, at the end of the day, it is what is the appetite of council for this. Administration is recommending what was put forward in the recommended motion.
Thank you, sir. I reflected back on some of those discussions that we had, and I looked at what's being presented here as a package, and it seems to have embraced and captured a lot of the sentiment, I think, discussion around this issue when council had it on their agenda. But there may be some other questions that council would wish to address to administration pertaining to this issue. Is any other questions council members may have? I'll start off with a few just to get the ball rolling. Is that when you talk about providing this tax exemption, it's for an improvement on these facilities. So that just is a tax exemption on the improvement part of it, not the actual initial capital. Is that correct, Administrator Roy?
That's correct. We're talking about an exemption on the improvement. So it's to incentivize places to either reinvest in their properties significantly or for new construction to occur.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And the other thing I was curious about, because I could see it being problematic, was that this is not retroactive. It would be if council chose to pass this motion, then it wouldn't be, there's no retroactive provisions within this. Is that correct, Administrator Roy?
That's correct. It's a moving forward recommendation. Anybody who wishes to take advantage of the program, there is a process that would have to go through and an agreement arranged and agreed to. So it would be almost basically a contractual agreement that would have to be entered into as part of the program.
Terrific. There's a couple more, but I don't want to hog the mic. Does anybody else have any questions that they wanted to address to the Administrator? Councillor Foster?
Thank you, through the chair. Is just when I read through the report and I get down to strategic plan alignment under community livability, the program can be tailored to promote affordable housing, mixed use development, and public space improvements that enhance livability. I have a little question because we're also talking about possibility of industrial land use as well.
Yes.
And then for me, it raises up the question of, are we going to be able to use this to affect our bylaw changes that we want to do with zoning bylaws? Reason why I'm asking is we have a community we have a location in our community that is mobile homes who are looking to possibly build houses.
I've heard that.
And they continually ask me questions and I refer them to Mr. Roy. But I'm looking at this. I know the next question I'm going to be asked is, do I have to put in a bylaw amendment, pay $1,000 to get that amended if we're going ahead to do this tax thing? And then the whole thing is this going to step on? This is what we do as a municipality. And from all my little bit of research, it's really up to us to do it. We don't have to wait for the province to tell us to do it. We don't have to wait for the federal government to mandate us to do this. So I personally think this is a step in the right direction, but I also know too that we're going to be challenged, I think, with zoning bylaws from residential or mobile home to residential spaces when they submit an application. So this might be a positive thing to help with that in my viewpoint. So I don't know if that's really a question, but
Well, it sounded like a question, a statement, and a narrative. So the question part of it is, could you want to just nail down the question part of it so that the
yeah,
administrator could respond to that?
so the question then is, will this implementing of this tax exemption then help with the development of our mobile home park when they want to go through a zoning bylaw change? I think that's my question.
Mr. Roy, do you care to respond to that, sir?
This has nothing to do with the zoning bylaw. Any development that would happen would have to comply with the zoning bylaw. I guess where it could potentially help if they're concerned about costs is they do have an opportunity for some savings as a result of that based on this program.
Thank you. That answers my question.
And I think the $1,000 is now 1,500 in my discussion with the administrator, and it sounds like it would be not just it would be a rezoning application.
The 1,500 would be depending on the zoning application. Sometimes an OCP amendment is needed too. And if both have to be done at the same time, that's a $1,500 fee instead of $1,000 each.
And just on that theme, and Mr. Roy, has an application been submitted to the Village of Gold River for our consideration?
No, your worship, no, nothing has been submitted.
Thank you, sir. Happy with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
No follow-up questions subsequent? Any other discussion? To be quite clear, as I read through it, I think you and your staff have captured what the intent of the council was. We do want to have a tool for incentivizing certain things within the community, and this gives it to us. And I think it's done in a very prudent way where it doesn't put us at a lot of risk. We still maintain the original capital, we still remain the original taxes, but any appreciation we can get additional income, or we can do that exemption on. So, oh, good, here we go. Who's had their hand up first? Was it Councillor Weimer? Councillor Weimer. I know.
Thank you. And yeah, thank you to the staff. It's great to see this report in front of us here. I think it's a step in the right direction, but I think we need to go one step further, in particular with the new construction. Right now, I mean, beggars can't be choosers, and I'd love for us to be able to, take in a little more tax capital in those first 4 or 5 years. But what we're kind of looking at here with the current recommendation is, call it roughly 50% taxation in the first 5 years rather than 100% taxation those first 5 years. And I really want to get, shovels in the ground, and I don't want to just go halfway. I want to go all the way. So I would be much more in favor of 100% exemption for the first 5 years, like our neighboring municipality in Campbell River. There's new construction there all the time. We've had one house in how long? So yeah, I mean, the first part, totally love it. The increase in the assessed value, that's perfect. I think that will help a lot of renovations in buildings, which I mean, really fits in with the themes that we are looking at of, say plaza improvement or industrial improvement or whatever it might be. But as far as getting new homes, I think we got to go for the 100% for 5 years.
Thank you, Councillor Weimer. Councillor Pickard.
Thank you through the chair. And I originally was to say thanks so much, Councillor Weimer, for bringing this to our attention and asking and directing staff to the report. And thanks also to our economic development officer, Chelsea. She did an awesome job and gave some great examples and really spelled out what this would mean for Gold River and tied it into our strategic plan, which always looks good of how we can put our words and our plans into action. And thanks, Mayor Lott, too. It's a good point that, we have these provincial mandates that we have to do and find funding for, and these federal laws and mandates and policies. But as a municipality, our tool belt is limited, but this is one that we can enact and use to, stand behind our words that we want to attract business and development and new homes. So I think it's a fantastic program, and we have great staff. And I like that we have the threshold option there of say 150,000 for the permitting. So it's not every single reno. There's more paperwork for staff.
Bigger ones.
The bigger ones, yeah. And look at, as Councillor Weimer said, our plaza kind of stuck with no renos, industrial sites stuck really with no big projects and new homes. So there's a lot of factors of why that hasn't happened. But if this is something that we can do as a council and kind of make a legacy move to maybe attract something new, I think it's a great idea. And also open to discussing what we want to do with the new builds, if we want to amend it to make it a bit more attractive and similar to Campbell River. Thanks.
Any other counselors care to address the question? Because you do have a motion on the table right now. Counselor Raymer.
I'd like to propose an amendment. Um, Basically what I said in the third part of the recommendation, instead of year one being 100%, year two 75%, et cetera, year one to year five being 100% exemption for residential, multifamily, residential new construction. Well, a building permit value of $150,000.
So just for I'm clear what you're proposing as an amendment to this motion is that you're suggesting that it's not going to be incremental diminishment like 175, 50, 25. You're proposing 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. Is that my interpretation? Okay, so there's an amendment that's been proposed. Does anybody care to move that? Is that you moved it? Okay, and anybody care to second that for discussion? Second by Counselor Pickard. Any discussion on the amendment? Counselor Raymer.
As I've said before, we're a municipality without a lot of options here. There haven't been new builds. We really look forward to those new builds, but they aren't coming. We've got so many vacant lots around our town, and any sort of thing we can do as a council to aid a developer is going to help us, because as we saw in our economic development plan, new construction was looking at what, $700,000-$800,000 for a new build. And that's going to be a lot, and that's something a developer is going to be looking at. So if we only kind of go halfway, may think that we are interested, but at the same time, we're not as interested in, say, Campbell River, who's giving 100% for 5 years. We're kind of hedging our bets a little bit. And don't get me wrong, I would rather us have the recommended motion rather than not have this at all. But really, this is kind of thinking long term. If we have to give up 5 years, and that's, not including the schools and all those other little taxes. But I'm thinking 30 years down the line, like what's the big difference between, let's say a house was getting $4,000 in taxes a year for the new build, maybe more, probably not less. 4,000 times 5 is $20,000. The current recommendation, we'd get $10,000 and they'd be waived $10,000. But if we go with 100%, 100%, 100%, 100%, they're saving the $20,000. We're getting nothing those first 5 years, which, sucks. But at the same time, 6 years, 10 years, 15, 30 years down the road, we're going to be bringing in that revenue that, I kind of wish Gold River had, now. It's going to help our future for sure. And, the last big building development was in 1989. That's the year I was born. Like, that's, it's a while ago. So, yeah, I think going the halfway with the recommended motion is very useful for us. But I think if we go that extra step, it's going to be more attractive to any developer coming into town.
Thank you, Counselor Waymer. Counselor Pringle.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other discussion? Counselor Fossen?
Thank you, through the chair. Thank you, Councilor Waymeyer, for your suggestion or your amendment here. I think opposite. I would prefer to see some tax income coming in year 2, 3, 4, and 5, simply because we've had 2 new builds in the last 3 years. And I'm talking also about down at Tom McClure's. They built a house on their property and so we're gaining taxes from that build. as well. The reason why I'm saying this is we are not Campbell River. They have a large tax base. They can afford to say, hey, 100%, 5 years. We don't have that. You go with, just say we have 20 new builds next year because we're given 5 years of 100% tax exemption. We've lost out on taxes from 20 different new builds. The other thing I think we're looking at here is this is a step in the right direction. The next council can go ahead and change it. You know, if all of a sudden we see an influx of new builds, developers coming in because we're giving them a little bit of a break, great. Let them make the step to give them 100% for 5 years or another 5 years. We right now are struggling in our finances. I don't think it's smart to say, hey, let's just exempt you for 5 years from a business perspective. And I've also raised the concern before that it's not tax exemption that's stopping developers from coming into our community. It's the cost of building. So yeah, they're going to save 20,000 over 500,000. Like, come on, there's one development that wants to start that's going to bring in about $15 million if we can help them pass the hurdles to build 50 small homes. I don't want to lose out on tax income. I don't mind for the first year, but I do want to start seeing some taxes increased or some money coming into the coffers. But that's a really good proposal, but I just don't agree with it. So thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Fossen. Councillor Pickard? Did I see your hand up at some time in the past or no?
Oh,
Oh,
That's a
I thought I seen your hand up
great
at one
discussion.
time.
Yeah. Thanks, Councillor Waymeyer, and thanks, Councillor Fossen, for your thoughts. And it is tricky. It's kind of short-term, long-term, and what's more attractive, what's going to attract development, what's going to help improve the aesthetic appeal of the community. And we don't know the answer, you know, and maybe 5 years seems a little bit scary because it's beyond a term and a long time to forfeit 100%. So maybe we might be comfortable with a bit shorter, like 3 years or something, 100% to make it like, we mean business attractive, like for 3 years. And I don't know, it
Are
is
you
tricky.
proposing amendment to the
I don't
amendment?
know, but
I hope not.
I get that it's tricky and it's short-term, long-term, and then, you know, we just, you know, want the best for the village, and what is the best short-term and long-term. So I don't really know, but I do agree with Councillor Waymeyer that we've been this long with those apartments looking like they do, and this long without something solidifying at the mill site, you know, a major thing. There is lots of going on there and lots of work, but something big. And we've been this long with the town looking the way it has, the town buildings, whatever that's called, the mall. And so I do agree that we do have to make a change, or nothing's really going to change. So I get 5 years and 100% is a lot to give up, but and Councillor Fossen is right. It's the cost to build, not necessarily the municipal taxes that they're paying. But if there's something we can do to incentivize that and bring that here, yes, we lose a bit on the taxation, but what we gain in residents and employment and people supporting our coffee shops and our buildings and all that is great. And I don't, not Councillor Roy, Chair Roy, maybe can guide
I
us
don't think he
through
wants to be a counselor.
whatever you do for us. Maybe you can guide us through what it would be term to term, because it is a long-term thing to think about. If we make this policy now, a new council comes in, they don't like it, but these people have come, and like, is there a contract that they sign that would supersede a council's decision? I don't know what that looks like. So some clarification from Mr. Roy would be great.
You're right.
This would be a bylaw that would be passed by council, and as a result of that bylaw, then we would enter into individual agreements with anybody who decides to do this program. And then that, of course, that contract would be binding even on a subsequent council.
Big day.
Any other discussion on the amendment? I guess I should weigh in because everybody's actually proclaimed themselves. And my thought was that we had the discussion in the past. We identified what our comfort level was. We were willing to enter into this to provide incentives to our community. We wanted to do it in a somewhat, how can I put it, in a cautious way. And we directed our staff to do the research, put together a proposal for us that embraced what council consensus was at that time. And I'm still comfortable with the original consensus that we had, and I'll be supporting the original motion for that reason. And I do appreciate staff doing all the hard work that they had to do to come to this because, we talked about one amendment and then we teased about a second amendment. But, if you look at the scope of this, you could have thousands of amendments. So depending on how you wanted to synthesize something and how aggressively you want to synthesize it. So I'm prepared to start off with what we originally were looking for. But that's my thought. Follow up, Councillor Weimeyer?
Yeah, sorry, what was the original discussions that we did have on this? Because this is the first report, and other than asking for the report, I don't remember any particular discussions about what this would look like.
I just recall, I don't know the specifics. So anyways, we do have an amendment on the table that's been put forward for us to consider. It's been moved and seconded. We've had discussion and it looks like it'll be an interesting vote. So is there any other discussion on it? Call for the question. All in favor of the amendment? 2 in favor, opposed? The amendment's defeated. Goes back to the original motion. The original motion, you can see that. I'm not going to do it again, but it's, there's any other discussion on the original motion? Nope. Call for the question. All in favor? Opposed? Carried unanimously. Thank you. And moving on, does that cover that one for you, Mr. Roy?
Yes, Your Worship.
Thank you, sir. Reports from council. My barbecue buddy, Councillor Fossin.
Thank you through the chair. I do have a minor report.
Thank you, sir.
Just a verbal report. I do want to express thanks to Kathy Nesbitt and Linda Vandenberg and their team for hosting a great Gold River Days 60th
Here, here.
birthday. And for them suggesting that all of us as counselors take part in that over top of that double smoke burger cooker. I thought that was great. And I also wanted to say thank you to all the volunteers, the staff that helped out, the volunteers, the vendors. Just made it an extremely memorable event for those who came. And as well, I wanted to say thank you to Connie Chan and her team for hosting a great softball tournament. And just thank you to this council for just being willing to just give her all for our 60th. So just wanted to say thank you to everybody. That's my report.
I thank you very much, Councillor Fossin. That was my report. So you've done my report for me, except there was one other group that I did want to identify, if you allow me to just to piggyback on what your thoughts were, is that I also had an opportunity to deal with our administration and our staff as they prepared for this event, and all the work that they did in collaborating and synergizing with the volunteer group was amazing. And then to see this team execute and getting all our venues ready for this major celebration, and then seeing the way that they diligently went about their work and making sure that everything went smoothly. So I would also, and all the people that you recognize, I also recognize, but I did want to recognize our employees, and I did want to recognize our staff, and I did want to recognize the council who chose to go outside of their financial comfort zone to actually put some extra money in here at the probably the great chagrin of our CAO, I think. So, but there was a conviction there that they want to invest something because it was a special event. We wanted to finance that. So we stepped up too. So yeah, we'll see what the taxpayer thinks next year when they vote on this. Yeah. Councillor Pickard.
Thank you. And thank you both for bringing up Gold River Days. I think it's on everyone's mind to thank Linda, Kathy, and the whole team, everyone you guys both said, and the staff. And it was so great. It was such a great celebration. And, we have in our strategic priorities a community pride, and that really everything that I attended with the kids, and my mom came, and everything we went to was amazing and so well done. And I was so proud too. We made a priority to have that water park on, helped so
Yeah,
much.
excellent.
It just, everything came together and it was really well done. And even Jennifer was on from Greek Seafood, having them back barbecue beside us and be able to feed the whole community and all visitors was really made us all proud. I think it was all really good. So thanks, Kathy, Linda, and everyone else, the whole village. And so that's a thank you. Another thank you and kind of report I have is on August 28th, I was able to attend the MFN Community Vessel Blessing,
Yeah, how'd it go?
which was really, really awesome. There was about almost 100 people. I saw your other half there guiding everyone, and the dance and costumes, and it was just a really positive celebration, a big moment for their community to have another boat to add into their fleet to get people back in from Yuquot, which was, you know, it showed the importance when there was that tsunami warning and they were all out there at Summerfest and there were the U-chucks broken, like the perfect storm. So it just highlighted the importance of having another vessel to transport them, and that it came a little bit late for that, but on time for our community. And it was gorgeous. And Zara was there and Moses from MFN, and they did a great intro, and it made it really part of the community. Yeah, the Tassis was there, and
Great.
yeah, it was awesome and such a good, just kind of an honor to be in Gold River and part of it. So thanks to them for inviting all of us and just growing our communities, you know, and all the things that they're doing and being able to connect their people to ancestral lands at Yuquot. And then in aquaculture stuff, Jennifer mentioned that Business Action Task Force is hosting all the mayors out here September 11th. So that's really exciting for aquaculture and for Greek seafood. So that's great that they're advocating for the resource sector, and that'll be happening 11th. And hopefully Mayor Lott will go for some of it, and I hope to attend for the time that everyone's there. So that's exciting and a good kind of precursor to UBCM, where there's going to be lots of talk and highlights in aquaculture. So it feels exciting on that front. And then quickly with watershed stuff, Nukasam Watershed Society is still kind of got two different important projects going on right now. So the Mushlet Gravel Project that you guys are all aware of is happening now. The gravel pit at Western has been used, and they're placing gravel at the Mushlet River site. And there's been, lots of the Ecofish contractors out working there, MMFN representatives at site, and lots of media stuff from Pacific Salmon Foundation coming and doing interviews and showing the site and the importance of salmon habitat spawning ground there. So we'll see that in all their promo material coming up, and that's all stuff that, you know, we support and are part of. And then just today, another big project launch in the Octons area, just past Mushlet Lake, and that's the 2 Billion Trees project, and that's just doing a lot of planting and restoring watershed and riparian areas that have been degraded down there, and also partnership with MFN, Salmon Parks, Nukasam Watershed Society. So that's a couple, and Western. So big projects, going on, and really collaborative, and just awesome. Like great for our watersheds, great for our ecosystem, great for our fishing was closed out front this year, but all that work there leads into big salmon runs in our fishery. So lots of collaboration happening. And there.
Did all the other counselors get an invitation to collect broodstock?
No, that's another thing. Good idea. Okay, so just you're on the list, but there's also one really important event happening next week, and there's 4 different dates. The 9th and 10th is meet at the dock and go up the Berman River to collect broodstock, and it's put on through the hatchery, Kanuma Hatchery, DFO, and Nukasam Watershed Society and MFN all partner to do it, to collect the broodstock to bring to the hatcheries. So then we have our big salmon runs. So, and then also the 12th and 13th, I'll forward you guys the invite, and you meet at 8 a.m. at that pump house for the Gold River broodstock. So that's not boated up the Berman, but it's, a big event that happens every year, and all different stakeholders in the area get together, and Mayor Lott's done it before, so he learned how to lasso it, feel like a bit of a rodeo.
That's great.
But I'll send you guys the invite, and it's neat, like Salmon Parks is doing it, the hatchery people, Watershed, and Greek Seafood, everybody kind of helps, to ensure that we have big runs and our fishing's open in the summer, so I'll send you guys that.
Thank you,
That's
Counselor.
all, thank you.
Councillor Pringle?
I also
Would like
I'm
to-
so happy about the 60th and how well it turned out, and thank you to everyone. And I would just also like to say, I will not be at the next 2 council meetings. I have my eye surgery next week. I'm so happy. And then after that, I'll be in Ontario. So when I'm in Ontario, I'll try to get in, but.
Can we Zoom her in from
Zoom her in.
October or from Ontario?
we'll see.
We have a long arm.
And I have a library meeting on the 20th, which I'll Zoom into that one as well.
Terrific. Thank you, Councillor Pringle. Councillor Waymire?
Nothing to report that hasn't already been said.
Yeah.
That was great. Gold River 60th.
Yeah, I echo Councillor Waymire's sentiments because I think it's all been said before, but it can never be said enough. Thank you so much because the volunteers within our community really add to the quality of life in our community. Without a vibrant volunteer presence, life becomes pretty pedestrian in our community. So thank you so much for all these people that stand up and make Gold River, like I think somebody said, it's terrific, but it can even be better. Was that you, Councillor White? Do I attribute that to you or somebody else? Somebody else said that tonight, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. Terrific. Let's move on to information items. Number 10.1, work in progress. Move that council receive the work in progress for information. Who care to move it? Councillor Fossen, second by Councillor Waymire. Any discussion? It's nice to see that we have our, a report on the revitalization tax exemption residential, commercial and industrial support the development properties in Gold River on September 2nd, 2025 agenda. I guess that can come off now. We're going to have to add some other things on there. We'll find some more stuff for you. Councillor Fawcett.
Thank you through the chair, and just to ask our administrator, is there any update on the naloxone kits that we could place in strategic places in Gold River from the Ministry of Health yet?
Administrator Roy.
I don't have an update at this time. I will follow up with our staff on that.
Thank you very much, sir. Any follow-up questions? Councillor Fawcett, you good with that?
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Seeing none, call for the question. All in favor? Good, move on. Report of committees. I don't see anything. Bylaws. Holy smokes, I wish you guys would write your bylaws in a language that wasn't so dry. Holy smokes. That's a tough read. Okay, on to business. 12.1 Development Procedure Bylaw. Move that council adopt Development Procedure Bylaw number 758, 2025. Who care to move it? Councillor Waymire, second by Councillor Pringle. Discussion? No. Just for clarification, so that I understand, Administrator Roy, the purpose of this is to take an old bylaw that hasn't been addressed or updated for like a long time, 27 years, and consolidate these two bylaws for efficiency, and then just to contemporize them, make sure that they're compliant with all the things that may have happened within provincial legislation. Is that what we're looking at? There's no major changes to the content?
No, there's no major changes, Your Worship. Bear in mind, this was initially passed pre-community charter, so it's also we reflect the changes in legislation. So it's a lot of housekeeping and updating just to bring it current to 2025.
What was the last time it was updated on your flow chart?
That was those two bylaws go back to 1998.
My math's not that great, but I have it like 27 years ago was the last time it was updated. It sounds like it's due. Okay. Any other questions that you may have for the administrator on this question? Any other discussion? All good? Call for the question. All in favor? Pass unanimously. 12.2 permissive tax exemptions. Move that council give first, second, and third reading to the Village of Gold River permissive tax exemption bylaw number 759-2025. Who care to move it? Councillor Fawcett, second by Councillor Pickard. Discussion. Seeing none, call for the question. All in favor? Carried unanimously. Correspondence. just move to receipt. That's all we're looking at with this stuff. Care to move? Who would care to move for receipts? Counselor Pickard, second by Counselor Pringle. Any discussion on any of the items in there? I was wondering if that Lions Bay community was on there because you referenced them last time we were having a discussion on the water meters. Yet I thought, oh, yeah. Yeah, it was kind of interesting, the proposal to have a package plant that they would move around to filter out water during fires, because I guess they have surface water that they draw from rather than groundwater. I didn't really see any asks in there that, so I just thought was just for information. Mr. Was there any asks in there that I missed when I did my reading? Are they looking for anything from us other than just to acknowledge that we received it?
It's just support from the Village of Lions Bay, and just if council wanted to meet with the opposition when we're in UBCM, that was about it.
Okay, is there a deadline on when we'd have to get back to them to let them know we wanted to meet with them? Because I've seen that they have different sessions there with different critics and different times. Was there any, did you have any direction for us on that, Administrator Roy? or
No, all I have,
Something that we should be addressing at this time?
no, Your Worship, all I have is what was presented in the correspondence that was received.
Okay, then let me propose it to council. Is there anything on that list that MLA Tony Luck has provided for us that we think that would be worthwhile for the three, was it the three amigos or the? I don't want to reference your,
You can do a round table or one-on-ones if you want.
I really don't know. I've never seen this. I've only gone to one UBCM and we didn't have this, so I'm not quite sure what the format. It sounds like when I seen it, looks like there is going to be a number of different representatives from the opposition party that would sit down on a table and probably have a discussion with you for your half an hour period by looks of it, on whatever on what the three topics they have, and the three topics they've identified as crime, health, and housing. And does, just for logistics, Administrator Wright, I know it's kind of putting you on the spot, but if we did choose to go to any of these, does this conflict with anything that we've already committed to?
The requests are just coming in on our meeting requests, so I'm still waiting to see what they
Okay,
are.
do we have to get back to them before our next meeting?
I'm just looking at the correspondence. There is no respond by mentioned in it.
Okay.
Yeah, they just mentioned that they have a couple of dates where they're hosting the round tables, and we could reach out to them if we want to try to schedule a one-on-one. So I think then they would work within whatever timeline or we have available, would be my expectation of that.
Okay, so Councillor Waymeyer is usually my partner in crime down there, and that he was last time, and I believe he's going to be this time. Councillor Waymeyer, is there anything on this list that you feel that you'd want to attend or be part of?
In particular, probably the housing one.
That's what I was thinking of the three.
I mean, yeah, of the three, it's certainly the most related to Gold River. And 4:30 to 5:30 is probably going to be free on a Thursday, but we'll find out once we get our schedule.
So tentatively, Administrator Roy, that seems to be the flavor of the month. So out of the three, I agree with my colleague, Councillor Waymeyer. That's the one that I would like to participate in.
Okay.
If, and so we just leave that with you?
Yes, Your Worship.
Thank you, sir. So any other discussion on that? Pretty good. It looks like we just find more and more things for Peter and Mike to do when we get down there. We don't want them to have any fun time down there. Okay, I call for the question. All in favor of receipts? Done. New business, none. Question period. Administrator Roy, do we have any questions online?
No, Your Worship.
Councillor White, did you want to address the council and do you have any questions for us, sir?
All good.
You all done? Okay, great. Notice a motion. And that's something that our Councillor Waymeyer has brought forward. I love it. Did you want an opportunity to speak to that, Councilor Rimmer?
Yeah, so I'll make the motion that council directs staff to provide a report on the speculation and vacancy tax in British Columbia, including one, an overview of the SVT and its intent to improve housing availability, two, the current and potential future applicability of the SVT to the village of Gold River, and three, an analysis of how the SVT could support local housing availability and in turn, economic development.
Wonderful. So it's moved. Who care to second it? Councilor Fawcett, any discussion? Councilor Rimmer.
There we go. Yeah, so I mean, this definitely is rooted from the response that we received for our UBCM resolution, which was endorsed at UBCM in, I guess, 2023 now. No, 2024? Yeah, 2024. And their response was basically, take off, you hoser, we've got enough taxes as it is, but we have this SVT thing. And unfortunately, you can't apply to be on it. We can write the Minister of Finance and say, hey, we want to be on this. So basically, I'd like us to get a report from staff so that whereas, you know, the carrot is a revitalization tax, this is the stick of, hey, also, please do develop your stuff because otherwise, I mean, we're seeking additional taxes on vacant properties that you are sitting on for speculation and vacancy purposes.
Yeah, I love that instrument. I think they both go together and they complement each other. Yeah, and I compliment you on all the efforts that you put in pursuing this. Councilor Rimmer, you seem to be the champion of this one. Cool. I hope I haven't left any other councillors out, but I'm right. I think Councilor Rimmer has been championing this for a while. So we see it at fruition. And we really, at this point, there's a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Call for the question. All in favor? Got it. Done. 1 for 1, Peter. No need to motion to adjourn in camera. No need to rise and report on anything. I do have a motion for adjournment. The meeting that I move that the meeting be adjourned. Who cares to move that? Actually, I should be moving those things. Councilor Pringle, second by Councilor Waymeyer. No heavy discussion. Great. Call for the question. All in favor. We are done. Thank you, folks. Good night.